There's my answer.
You're watching Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
There's no way I'm the only Edmontonian alternating Gatorades and coffees today. Let's get into it with the lead. Nice. Oh, beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Every time I start the show with sunglasses on, I just really want to keep them on the whole show.
Go ahead.
It's very nice to not have the harsh lights on, but I have too much respect for, I don't know.
The game.
The game. Welcome into Oilers Nation every day. We are live from the Sports Closet studio. We are a presentation of Bet365. Download the app. Use the code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. We are live on YouTube, where the YouTube chat is brought to you by Odd Company Brewing and Nation Beer Everyday Lager, a crisp, clean lager crafted not just for game day, but for every day. Everyone in the chat, I see the comments. Yes, as a collection, as a unit, as a fan base, we're hungover, but God damn it, does it ever feel good, Liam? Because the Edmonton Oilers are back in the Stanley Cup Final.
They sure are, and it feels a lot different this time around. It feels like we belong. Last year, I don't know, I was obviously fantastic, but it felt like they had, it's going to sound harsh, but like achieved their goal already, you know? Well, like last night, it was like, no, we're good. Let's shake these guys' hands. Grab that trophy, take it to the room, FaceTime Hyman, get on the plane. Practice is tomorrow, boys. Let's get going here. That's what it felt like to me. It was all business.
And the other thing, too, is like last year, like it almost felt like by the time the Cup Final started, they were down 2-0.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, we're so excited. I'm maybe even talking a little bit too much of like you and I personally, but it's like, okay, we're down to Florida, media day. Oh, my God, Stanley Cup Final. Look at the patches on the jerseys. This is sweet. And then it was like, oh, shit, we're back in Edmonton. They're down 2-0, and oh, shit, now they're down 3-0. Oh, boy. And this year doesn't have that feel. It's going to start on home ice. They got to come into our building. Mm-hmm. And, again, just hearing everything the Oilers had to say after the game, like, part of it is, you're trained to say the right things. I get that. But there's a vibe. There's a confidence here with this group that's different. It's different.
I don't think they were told to say anything either. I think it's just, like, I think this team has an objective. It is like McDavid is leading the way in it too. Like everyone knows what they're there to do, and everyone's showing up. And last night I think was just a fantastic game by the Oilers. Obviously a great start, and just every time Dallas thought they had clawed their way back into the game, goal happens again, goal happens again, big save. It's just it didn't matter, and that's what the whole series was. Besides game one, the Oilers just punching back instantly and knocking down the Dallas Stars.
Oh, man. It feels good that we get to do this and that this team is
good.
Back where they are. They're good. And, like, that was a stress-free conference final. That sounds insane to say that.
Yeah.
Because they lost game one. They lost game one, and it was like, oh, they just played shitty for 6 minutes. They'll get them. And they did. They finish it off in 5. They double the Dallas Stars in goals. Their power play comes through time and time again. I mean, if it's not the depth, it's the power play. If the power play is cold, the depth is stepping up. It's just at every turn, this Oilers team continually finds a way.
The crazy stat that I found, so of those 11 goals that Dallas Stars scored, only 2 players scored a 5-on-5 goal in this series for Dallas. Tyler Seguin got 2. Jason Robinson got 2. That was it.
No.
It was crazy. I honestly, like, I know I said Oilers in 5. I am very surprised the way the series went, in the sense of like Dallas had a period, and you can probably argue.
Liam, you called the Dallas Stars frauds.
I know I did, and they clearly are, and I was right. But I'm
so
just
then you can't say you were surprised.
I'm
they
surprised
dusted them.
That guys like Rantanen weren't there, and like Miro Heiskanen didn't have like a crazy impact on this series. Like Oettinger, right. But frauds overall.
Let's get an outsider's perspective on all of this. We love Jeff Merrick very much. It's always a pleasure when he joins us. He's on the Star Mechanical guest line. It's Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You know who's fired up that the Oilers are back in the Cup Final? Red from Star Mechanical. Red, put that Habs jersey away for a little bit longer. Dust off that old Eberle jersey, pal. When you're doing house calls, you're rocking orange and blue. Shout out to Star Mechanical. They've been doing it in Edmonton more than 20 years, and they do it well. Jeff Merrick, host of The Sheet. I was on The Sheet yesterday. That was fun. Jeff Merrick, you know what else was fun? Watching the Edmonton Oilers advance to yet another Stanley Cup Final.
Okay, I saw the glasses, the hoodie, the Gatorade, the coconut water, the electrolytes, nonstop plate after plate of toast just to try to get something in you. Do you guys need me to whisper? Is that I have a feeling that whenever I talk to my friends in Edmonton today, it should be in very, very hushed tones. We've all been there before. It's okay, folks. Listen, this whole series was, the one thing about playoffs is they reveal who you are. I don't know, Liam, whether I'm going to go as far as calling the Dallas Stars frauds, but there were when I look at the forward group of the Dallas Stars, and by the way, it looks like Edmonton really has now forced another team into making a lot of big decisions. Edmonton has forced the Kings to make big decisions. Edmonton has forced Vegas into making big decisions. And now, make no mistake about it, the Dallas Stars are facing some large decisions, and that's what great teams do to you. They show you exactly who you are. And I look at the forward group specifically of Dallas, and to me, there were only really two players that showed up. One was Granlund and the other was Rantanen. Other than that, I kept coming back from with the same feeling. And sure, there were like minor eruptions, like a period here or 5 minutes there or half a period here where the Dallas Stars really pulled things together. But by and large, I looked at that forward group and I said, it looks like they're just out for a skate. And even yesterday, like the Oilers go up 3-bagel, and I'm saying, and then there's the awkward goalie pull after 2, where I don't know if you guys have ever seen a timeout and a goalie pull at the exact same time. That's virgin territory for me. I've never seen that one before. And it's like the Oilers go up 3, Skinner scores, and all of a sudden, then finally the Dallas Stars go for more than a skate. I was convinced, Tyler, you and I talked about this yesterday. I was convinced that the first 10 minutes was because that crowd is going crazy and backs against the wall. It's an elimination game. I thought Dallas was going to empty sink the team. Just first 10 minutes, everything. And quite the opposite happened. It was almost like everyone from Dallas was looking for someone else to do something. And Edmonton said, well, this is just awesome. We're going to chase a goaltender and then turn a 2-goal lead into a 3-goal lead here. It was... like the whole performance for the whole series was kind of clinical here, guys. I know it's a long-winded first statement by yours truly, but the whole thing was just like, honestly, it was like a machete going through the Dallas Stars. You never felt like the Dallas Stars were ever able to get any solid footing. Just when they started to feel comfortable, the Edmonton Oilers knocked them down again. It's the old saying from the dojo: the protruding nail gets hammered down. And that's what the Edmonton Oilers did to the Dallas Stars in this series. They hammered them down.
I wanted to ask you, you kind of said the Oilers are going to force the Stars to make some, interesting decisions or face some interesting questions. What did Peter DeBoer just do to the Dallas Stars with those comments on Oettinger? Did he just force them to have to start asking some different questions?
Everybody's asking the Peter DeBoer question today. I don't know about you guys, but when he was running down the sort of resume of Jake Oettinger, and history kind of tells us, don't go to war with a Vezina trophy type goaltender. It generally doesn't tend to work out well. See Tremblay, Patrick Waugh, but I digress. I think that right now there's a lot of things that are on the table for the Dallas Stars. And when he was running down the resume of Jake Oettinger versus the Edmonton Oilers, I don't think I was the only one who said, is that Jake Ottinger's resume or is that Peter DeBoer's resume? Like, Jake Oettinger is the goaltender, but this is the team. Like, you're taking a team stat, wins and losses, and you're saying this guy can't get it done. No, it's Dallas Stars that haven't been able to get it done. And it's a team that's been, put it this way, it's a team that's been given everything by both the general manager and maybe most specifically the owner, Tom Gillardi. And I don't think a defeat like this rests lightly on his shoulders. I think that they're going to take a step back. I mean, the emotions are raw in Dallas right now. They're going to take a step back, and I think they're going to evaluate a lot of positions. I think they're going to evaluate a lot of players. I think they're going to try to figure out where's our direction forward now, who's available, who's not wanted on the voyage, and who's leading this team. I think like at a lot of levels here too, the Dallas Stars are going to be forced into making some really tough decisions, because there is very much a vibe in Dallas, not unlike Vegas, that goes like this. Pretty good, but not good enough. Like right now, Dallas is saying, and Tom Ghilardi's saying, not good enough.
Do you think there's any kind of disconnect between DeBoer and Jim Nill as our GM?
Yep.
Right? I just think of the comment he made yesterday of, I don't know who asked it, but is this team the best you've had? And he's like, maybe on paper, but they weren't that good. And they made a lot of changes to bring guys in. And to me, that would suggest that the guys they brought in weren't guys DeBoer really wanted.
I would really disagree with that.
Okay.
Jim Nill gave this team everything they wanted. Like at the trade deadline, you go out and get Mikko Rantanen, a top 10 player in the NHL, right? You go out and get Mikael Granlund. You know, if it weren't for Liam Bichsel, they probably would have gone out there. Like, listen, they were very much more than just kicking tires on Seth Jones. They were more than just kicking tires on Rasmus Anderson. Like, we expected at least one big name forward and one big name defenseman. Jim Nill gave up 3 first-round picks this year, guys. Like, this was, like, if you look at this sort of like, I don't know, what do you call it, like a 7 or 8 year odyssey, not odyssey, but 7 or 8 year charge for the Dallas Stars. This was the one where finally they said, and now we're going for it. Because this Dallas Stars team and Tom Ghilardi are always in a mode of go for it, go for that. That's Ghilardi's MO, the owner. Go for it, go for it, go for it. Jim Nill has always been able to preach patience, but this was the year where he said, we're going for it. You know, our veterans are aging out, and our young kids aren't quite ready yet. So we're going for it. And they traded Logan Stankoven and 3 first-round picks this year to bring in what this team and this organization thought Peter DeBoer needed to get this team further than a conference final. Like, make no mistake about it. Like, I think it's hard to expect a team to win the Stanley Cup. That's really hard. But getting there, like, that was the expectation for the Dallas Stars. So I don't know if there should be a disconnect between the two, because I kind of look at the Dallas Stars and say everything that the coaching staff wanted, they got. And, you know, Liam Bichsel emerges, and that means, okay, that's one hole that we don't have to plug. Now, I do think in the offseason, you know, maybe the Dallas Stars go out and look at someone like Aaron Ekblad to make a big 4 on the back end. You know, there's already some whispers and conversations about that I had with people this morning. So I don't think that Jim Nill is, by any stretch of the imagination, done tinkering here. You'll probably hear Mitch Marner's name attached to the Dallas Stars at some point. I wonder what the decision will be on Jason Robertson, who, you know, as you mentioned, you know, scored a couple of goals, but still, is there enough there? This is transitioning now to Mikko Rantanen's team. I think like there's a whole lot of discussion around who's staying and who's going. I think the only thing that's pretty solid though right now is going to have to repair the relationship between the goaltender and the organization, because I don't know about you guys, I expected Oettinger to come out in the second period.
I did too.
I thought, okay, you know what, here comes Casey DeSmith. I know he's great against the rush and all, but you're going back to Jake Oettinger in the second, right? Like, the pull didn't surprise me as much as DeSmith still going out for the second period did. That one surprised me.
Yeah, I thought there would be a little bit of like a, but even again though, like you'd think a 30-second timeout that, again, after a goal is almost more like a minute-long timeout by the time they calm down and actually, I thought that would have been enough time for Pete DeBoer to kind of like exhale and be like, okay, we're fine, or get back in there. But I mean, nonetheless, you know what? Enough talking about that guy, Pete DeBoer. Can I ask you about our guy, Chris Knobloch? Because the way this team plays in the playoffs, they never miss a closeout game. The only elimination game they've lost is against, obviously, Florida last season. They get better as every series goes on, and I just don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's a coach who knows how to make really good adjustments.
And it's a team that's been there now, and there's no panic, right? This is like the Olympic diver into the pool. There's no splash. There's no wave. And you know, you always talk about how the team takes on the personality of the coach. Carolina is the best example of that with how hard they work. But you look at Knobloch and you look at him behind the bench, and it is calm, no panic, stress-free. We got this. Everything is fine. And you see that with the Oilers. Game in and game out. Shift in and shift out. We're down 2 pucks. You know, the camera does the quick one shot back to the Edmonton Oilers bench. Calm. Like it's not like that. You know, Pat Quinn used to be the master of playing the camera when there was a whistle, Pat Quinn was all calm, because he knew that was a chance where they were going to get a one shot of him on the bench. But then when the puck dropped and the game was on, he started letting guys have it and would be more animated. So I don't think it's a situation like that. Quinn was the best at it. But Knobloch is just like, he is like super cool. Like I always admired Carey Price for this one thing, which was when you interviewed Carey Price after a game, you could never tell whether the Montreal Canadiens won the game or lost the game because he was always the same. All even keel, and you talk to the Edmonton coach and after a game, and just by his tenor and how he's talking, if you didn't know the score of the game, could you tell from the interview? I would argue no. And this Oilers team has taken on that personality. No panic at all. We got this. That's the Oilers right now.
What do you think their chances are now that they're in the final to finally get this thing done? Like, this team just feels way different than they were last season.
They are. They're it's a better team. It's an experienced team. They've been there, done that, so there's no surprises. We don't know what to expect. They know what to expect. They won't get caught up in the moment. They won't be overwhelmed by the moment. But then on the other hand, even though, the Florida Panthers, lost some players last season, you look at, Brandon Montour and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, et cetera. That's just the reality of being a successful team. I still maintain the Florida Panthers are better. They're better than they were last season, and they added Brad Marchand, and that third line is just so devastating. We'll see about Listerainen here. Not having Hyman is awful for the Edmonton Oilers. There's no two ways about it. That's massive for the Edmonton. Not that they can't overcome it. I mean, the one thing about Edmonton here that we didn't see last season, and this is where I look at the Oilers and I say they have more than a good chance here to win the Stanley Cup. Everybody has their role. Everybody has their spot. Everybody has their job. And the most important thing is nobody has boo-boo face about it. How many times have you said, you know what, you're not gonna have top 6 spot here anymore. Now we made these trades at deadline. We need you to do this in the bottom 6, and okay, I'll do it, but they kind of half-ass it along the way. I'm looking at Victor Arvidsson last night along the boards. Yeah. You look at the board play of Victor Arvidsson, you're not saying, if you take the name bar off and you put, Ryan Smith's name bar on there, that's like Ryan Smith along the boards. Arvidsson was fantastic last night in board play. And we think of Arvidsson, we think open ice and 35 goals, and all these guys have accepted new roles, and they understand that everyone's contributing, and that's why at the end of anything, whether it's a conference final or a Stanley Cup final, everybody feels like they've won something because they've all done something. And when you have a situation like that, then you start talking about the Stanley Cup. Everybody is pulling on the rope. That's where you start to say, okay, this is soap and warm water time. We really have a chance at this thing.
Are you excited for the Memorial Cup this weekend?
I am. I know you have Jason Demers on. I wonder if he's going to mention anything about Moncton, his old team with Teddy Nolan and the Q. They're facing off against London tonight. Medicine Hat Tigers 08. I got to say, the rise of the Western Hockey League has really been, and a lot of it is because of the academy system and the quality of player that's coming out now. But I thought that all season long, I thought that Moncton was the best team that I saw in the CHL. London is a juggernaut, and we have all seen what Medicine Hat can do on paper, at least. Liam, going into this tournament, and all the games have been close. On paper, going into this tournament, I thought this was one of, if maybe not the best field that I've ever seen, where even the host is really strong too. And so far, this tournament's lived up to the hype. And we'll see what happens tonight between London and Moncton, and we'll see who faces off against Medicine Hat on Sunday.
Jeff, appreciate your time. What's coming up on the sheet today?
Oh, it's Friday, so that means Brian Burke. So lots of how to handle coaches talks, and how his thoughts on the Edmonton Oilers and all the various machinations of what's happening in the NHL. Most notably, the Buffalo Sabres bringing in Jarmo Kekalainen as senior advisor. Burke knows a thing or two about that position. We'll get his thoughts on that. And then, Liam mentioned the Memorial Cup. Dan McKenzie, the president of the CHL, will stop by as well. And plenty of talk about the Oilers and what's next for the Stars and coaches and who's going into us. We know who's going into Seattle, but Boston and Pittsburgh still out there. So lots up for grabs. Try to squeeze it in an hour, but you guys know me. There's no chance. I'm way too wordy. Way too wordy. It's not going to be an hour. No chance. No chance.
Jeff, appreciate your time. I know you're not going to be able to make it up to
boys.
Edmonton, but are we going to see you in Florida?
Florida for 3 and 4. Let's go.
Yes.
Who's starting the conga line? You? Tyler, are you starting the conga line?
Why not?
I'll do it.
Yeah, get going. Get it. I think we were looking at where we might be staying, though. We think our Airbnb might have a pool. Very fancy. Very
Bring
fancy.
your trunks, Jeff.
Yep. Bring your
Come
trunks.
on down by the pool, Tyler. Don't you come on down by the pool.
Appreciate your time,
Nice,
Jeff. Thank you.
gentlemen. We'll see you in Florida. We'll see
There
you.
you go.
Jeff.
Jeff Merrick from The Sheet, 1 o'clock Daily Face-Off YouTube. Find it wherever you get your podcast from. He's on the Star Mechanical guest line. He's also brought to you by Tourism Jasper. This summer, find your happy place in Jasper. From hiking trails, paddling wild waters, or sharing laughs by the fire, happiness finds you here in Jasper. So drive over because your best summer memories aren't behind you. They're waiting for you this summer in Jasper. Plan your trip, jasper.travel/summer. Just a little PSA from me here. We're not getting too far ahead of ourselves.
Why?
But come on, we're fans. We can do it a little bit. Maybe that like June 20th, 21st. Maybe don't go to Jasper those days. Maybe you might want to be in Edmonton those days.
If I was picking a weekend to go, it wouldn't be that one either.
No. July. You know what? Just go in July.
Go in July.
Just go in July. Go to Jasper.
I'll be there July.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Jay will be there. He's skipping your bachelor, remember?
Oh, yeah, buddy. Don't get me started on that. Shout out to Jeff. That was excellent stuff. All right. A few things here. I really want to keep talking about the game last night. I'm just trying to figure out the order of operations for all of this. Let's do a scoring summary brought to you by Oodle Noodle for last night, because I want to go back through some of these goals and relive the magic of last night, and there's certainly a lot to take from this one as well. I love that the headline on NHL.com is best player in the world. But speaking of which, game day meals, listen, you're not going to have more time during the Stanley Cup Final. So if you want a good game day meal, hit up our friends at Oodle Noodle. $29.97, 2 premium boxes and 2 spring rolls. And there's an and in there. The Edmonton Oilers win 6-3 last night. The game starts. Maybe you're a little bit nervous. Crowd's rocking in Dallas. We talked about how the Oilers might have a chance to kind of just crush Dallas' spirits with a really, really good start. Yeah. Maverick Bourque just inserted into the lineup.
Tough.
Somehow high sticks Evan Bouchard.
Just very regular season stick, I think is a good way to put it.
Zero attention to detail.
Just really not dialed in.
And then Corey Perry all alone in front. The Oilers really utilized on this power play the bank pass. They had 4 or 5 of these where they were just dinking it off the end boards. Connor and Leon going back and forth. Why Cody Ceci went to go chase Connor McDavid on this goal instead of staying on his guy in front? Like, Connor McDavid, in all likelihood, can't hurt you from that angle.
No, but he usually finds a way to figure it out pretty quick.
Right? But like if you're Ceci here, you see Perry, you are looking at Perry right there. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I agreed. It's too aggressive for a guy who isn't that good of a skater.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine skater, don't get me wrong, but like CC should know better than to not make that play.
Mm-hmm. 1-0.
Kind of a weak goal too. I mean,
it's Perry alone in front. He's probably going to find a way to beat you, but Oettinger does get a pretty big piece of it, and it still goes in.
Yeah.
Which can go both ways, too, on the get a big piece of it, right? Like, didn't get beat clean, whatever. Anyways, there is no such thing as a half save. So, there you go. 1-0 Oilers. 4.5 minutes later. Yeah, 4.5 minutes later. Matthias Janmark. Playoff Janmark. God damn, does he ever just find a way. That stretch pass by Jake Wallman was elite. Victor Arvidsson, 1 touch, and a sloppy line change by the Dallas Stars allows Janmark to walk in all alone. But again, a lot of talk about the sloppy line change. A lot of talk about Victor Arvidsson's pass. Janmark's finish. That Jake Wallman feed, the headiness of like, they are changing poorly, and the Oilers can strike quick. We talked about it so many times in this series. You can outplay them, but in a moment they will get it back. And that was a theme in this hockey game. Janmark makes it 2-0. And then Liam, our playoff prince, Jeff Skinner. I mean, what a moment, right? The excitement on his face. There was a shot of him, and you're going to get a look at the goal here. There's a shot of him on the bench where he has the biggest smile, and he's sitting next to Adam Henrique, who's just...
He's just a guy who struggles to hide his happiness.
I know.
Honestly, his emotions. You can see it sometimes, too, in the regular season where, like, a bad penalty is called, whatever he disagrees with. He's not afraid to yell at the ref and be like, F you. But this was cool. This was cool to see him have that moment. Now, a point-per-game player in the playoffs, despite only playing 2 games, and likely the guy that comes out of the lineup when Connor Brown comes back. But
probably.
This is great. This is just shows, again, we talked about it yesterday, the mentality of this team. And there you go. There's a great shot of Jeff Skinner. Of coming into the lineup, being prepared and ready to go. And Jeff Skinner, he's known to be a goal scorer. He's obviously defensive game has been something he's worked on all season, but in this moment, the Oilers needed a goal, and it came at the perfect time.
Andrew's asked this 8 times in the chat. I believe we're going to be credentialed again for the Cup Final.
Will you be going, Andrew?
Which means we're going to be journalists.
Media Maynard.
Yeah, big media boys. Oilers are up 3-0, and my lovely fiance Amber turns to me and goes, I don't like when they get up by this much. And I was like, honestly, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's like there's nowhere to go but down.
We'll say the early cash on bet 365 was nice.
Jason Robertson finds the back of the net just a couple minutes after Skinner's goal, makes it 3-1. This was, and Bruce Kurlock had a good breakdown of this one. Everyone wanted to jump down Darnell Nurse's throat for this one. Or Brett, like the turnover by Brett Kulak is bad. People were like, why is Nurse skating away? Nurse gives Brett Kulak a beautiful get out of jail free card on the pass. Kulak could have just fired it across and the Oilers would have been out of their own end. Kulak tries to force something that's not there. It's a bad turnover. You give Robertson that spot. He's going to score. If you want me to nitpick a clinching victory that sent you to the Stanley Cup Final, no more Nurse Kulak. I'm on. No more.
It did seem a bit chaotic, didn't it?
That was Brett Kulak's worst playoff game as an Oiler.
And that's the thing. I don't think it was Nurse that made it bad.
They can't play together.
It was just Kulak seemed to just be doing whatever he was doing a couple times last night. He had some bad turnovers, but I'm sure their numbers together weren't as terrible as like you would maybe think, but I'm totally with you. So that was the only shot they had against. The only shot those two were on the ice together against was that one. That hit the net, I should say. They outshot their opponents 12-1, but I'm totally with you. It felt very chaotic, and it just felt like at moments they just couldn't get the puck out of the zone. But to try and stay on the positive train, that is the only thing I'm with you that I would 100% change next game. Will they? Probably not.
Aaron, don't worry about showing me the Rupe Hintz power play goal. I don't care. The Oilers were running around a little bit.
Yeah.
Wasn't great.
They were pushing.
And Dallas was giving them everything they could. And again, just what would have frustrated this Dallas team to no end being in that room is that it was the same damn story. Game 3, Game 4, and Game 5. They push, they play so well. And click, one play back the other way. Connor McDavid off a blocked shot by, I believe it was Matthias Ekholm, and he just motors past Rupe Hintz, backhand, forehand. Wonder if a legit number one goalie stops that. Who knows?
We'll never know.
We'll never know. Connor McDavid with the big celebration, too. I love when he gets real fired out. You can tell when there's the goals McDavid is kind of like, about. There's the goals where he maybe knows he needs to get the crowd and his teammates into it. And then there's like what I would call the real authentic McDavid excitement celebration, which is where his hands just kind of shake. Yeah. Like he did it in the Four Nations. When he scored that goal in the Four Nations, you could tell he was like, he jumped and then his hands kind of shook and he was like, ah. And that was the same thing. He was just kind of like, boo, yes. And he's just so excited. Good for Connor McDavid. God, I love him.
Yeah. It's kind of leaves you speechless, doesn't it? But in a way of like, we've already said it before numerous times. This guy, when you need him the most, is going to be there to show up. And he asked a couple times in the postgame, like, and it's such an obvious question, but the answer is also like so obvious too. But you kind of need to ask it. It'd be like, I suppose, like, does this surprise you? And they're just like, no. There's one guy who can do it, and it's him. Yep. And this, again, like you said, and I think Tyler Mulick said it, it's like the others bend, don't break. Every game they have done that. Every game, besides game 1, where they totally snapped it.
And you know who's a very, very big reason for that?
Knobloch
and Stuart Skinner.
Oh, yes, Stu.
That save he made, throwing himself up to stop Rantanen coming across the ice, was unbelievable. And Ryan S. in the chat goes, and then Stu gave up a weak one. If my goalie stops 8 or 9 grade A opportunities in the second period, then lets in a stinker in the third, okay.
And I want to ask this question, and I agree with Ryan. This is obviously a bad goal to give up.
Yeah, but like
I want to ask, because maybe I just don't know, and I wish we had Dubnik or Hudson or someone to this big question. But is this a difficult shot to save in the sense of like the puck never leaves the ice, but he's coming at you like kind of quick? You know what I mean? Like sometimes you expect it to be like
he's got to keep your stick on the ice, though.
Yeah, that's true. It kind of goes under his pad more than the stick too, but. I just wondered that. It's not a good goal. I'm just trying to think of like maybe why this one would go in, but terrible timing. But again, it doesn't matter because the Oilers responded so well.
And this was, as much as it's a heady play by Evander Kane, this was one of those where you just kind of laugh and are like, this Oilers team is meant to win.
Yeah, get out of the crease, Lindell.
Well, get out of the crease, Lindell. But how this puck goes in is just like, again, Like, think of that McDavid. I know it ultimately ended with a loss, but like McDavid banking one off McNabb's skate. Like, the bounces and the breaks have to go your way in the playoffs, and they're going the Oilers' way in these playoffs. Like, again for Dallas, you just got a gift from the Oilers and Stuart Skinner. You're like, crowds rocking third period, and that goes in.
Yeah,
crushing. Dallas, I don't believe got another shot on net.
So their last shot on goal was from Colin Blackwell
At 16-17 of the third
like
period.
that, yeah.
Like, they went their final 16 minutes of the season out with a whimper.
It's because the Oilers shut that shit down, man.
It's crazy.
The Oilers that's what they do. They just eliminate these guys, and these guys like Mikko Rantanen who couldn't become a factor in the series because the Oilers played so well against them. Another huge save from Stu. First period, shorthanded Thomas Harley. That was an unreal save. Unbelievable save. And I wrote an article today, just kind of a few thoughts on the series in general, mostly on last night, but just on Stu, like one moment I think back to, which I think might have swung, the series seems like a strong term for it, but at least that game in the Oilers' favor. Game 4 against Dallas, obviously, he made that save on Matt Duchene in the first period. Where he I think it was Duchene was coming around the post, Stu gets across. I feel like if that goes in, that was obviously a moment where Dallas takes a 1-0 lead, but then Draisaitl goes down and scores later in the period too. Like, the stops he made in that period, I think, really helped Edmonton get over the line in Game 4, and then obviously he was just able to do it so many times throughout the series too. He was their best player in the series. And he honestly, like, it's not even a question for me. I thought he was unbelievable. This is the best 4-game stretch of Stuart Skinner we've ever seen. Actually, screw that. Like 7 games. Go back to the Vegas 2 shutouts. Yeah.
Totally. Man.
Lovely.
That was a fun scoring summary. Who got the empty netter?
Hey,
Cap. Attaboy, Cap.
You see my tweet popped off yesterday?
No, you got a banger?
I tweeted Kasperi Kapanen, the highest scoring Finn in the series, like we all predicted. He got like 1,600 likes.
Attaboy.
Two goals for Kasperi Kapanen.
For your doppelganger. Kasperi Kapanen, 2 goals since him and Liam locked eyes in Game 4.
It was a beautiful moment.
Makes you think.
Makes you
all
think.
right. Oh, my God. Okay, we got to get to JD. I know we got to get to JD, but we have a couple of donations for the Ben Stelter Foundation that just came in, so I want to get to those. Jason will understand. First up, we got one that was, oh, come on, go away AI summary. I can't see how much this one is.
Don't remove it.
Get close.
You got to like it. Give it a thumbs up.
Give it a thumbs up.
No,
okay. There we go. $20 from LA Canuck, who says, really like your work. I lived in Edmonton 85 to 90, worked for what was ITV before moving to LA, hence LA Canuck. Sure, hoping we get it done this year. My wife and I are glued to the games. Go Oil, from Carl. Thank you, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
Cup year dropped in $27. Said Pete DeBoer went a bridge too far when he yanked Otter. Still wouldn't have changed the outcome. It's an MF and Cup year. And then Ravina donated $140 in our super chat. Thank you, Ravina. She says, this is our year, Oil and 6. Great job, guys. You are definitely entertaining. Keep it up. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you to the money that's going to the Ben Stelter Foundation. And on that note, we go back out to the Star Mechanical guest line. Residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. Star Mechanical does it all. Star Mechanical does it well. You can check them out at starmechanical.ca as we welcome our boy Jason Demers to the program. JD, pack your bags. You're coming to Edmonton.
Pack your bags and set your alarm clocks back to 1975. I'm going to Canada. I'm going to Edmonton, baby. Yeah.
This Oilers team just, never mind the fact they're winning when in a year where, like, again, I totally understand why people were picking against them, but like, they're winning in 5 games against good hockey teams. Like, they're just, they snapped their way through 2 rounds. That's crazy.
Yeah, they mowed down both these rounds. It's I don't know if it's like more looking at Vegas and Dallas being like they're a lot further than they think, or Edmonton's just figured out some formula that happened off of a bad coaching challenge, and they've just kind of clicked in to God mode, and they've been nothing short of fantastic. People are going to argue and say, well, games 3 and 4 in LA, we're still, or not in LA, but in that LA series, we're still like tough games. I'm like, they weren't tough games. LA was sitting back, trying to hold the lead. They've been nothing short of fantastic and so close to perfect since those first 2 games where they dropped LA. And man, this team, man, wild. It's a different animal, a little bit older, a little bit slower, but a little bit bigger. And I feel like that physicality is wearing on teams, and they don't seem nervous at any moment of the game. And that's the biggest thing, biggest difference from the past few years of this team. There's just no nerves. They're just calm, cool, and collected in the moment. And that's what you get, man. And they just kind of dog walk Dallas for 5 games. Crazy. They're giving up like no shots late in games when they're in the lead. Like they're giving up under 10 shots a period, holding a 2-goal lead in a series clinching game. That shows me that they're ready.
We talked about it a lot already, but like the team just feels so different. Like you look at them last night, like it didn't really. It was obviously you could feel the excitement of they just won, but it didn't. It felt like they knew there was more to come. Like last year, that felt like it was it. Like it felt like we have achieved something here, which they've obviously done this season. But now, like you said, like they're just way more mature now.
Yeah, there's no panic in their game. I mean, down to a man, they understand what they need to do and how they need to play, and they're disciplined, man. They just exude everything that Chris Knobloch is. I feel like you really slowly but surely embody your coach, and I mean, he is so calm back there. He never panics. He never loses his cool, and the guys just seem to embrace that. And whether I'm completely missing the mark on it, but it just the way they play is just calm, and I think so much credit needs to go to this coaching staff because you saw coaching mistakes last game, and you saw coaching, you know, master classes, and I feel like Chris Knobloch's put on more of those than mistakes in the past 2 years.
It's pretty crazy to look at an Oilers team that you can now make the argument they have more defensive depth than forward depth. I mean, like they're sitting Troy Stetcher now that Ekholm's back.
Who
You
would
think
have
that's too hot
thought?
takey?
No, but I mean, who would have thought that this Wallman
Yeah.
Klingberg pairing would be
No kidding.
absolutely? They've been so good at moving the puck and playing defensively. It's been their best pairing, like consistently game in, game out, of just like their steady. I wouldn't say their best pairing, but their steadiest pairing throughout the playoffs. And I mean, if you can get a steady pairing, Matt and Klinger, I mean, credit goes to him. I played with this guy in Dallas, and coming back from that hip surgery and moving the way he's moving. I mean, the way he moved. I think I said it when we talked. I said if he can move, he just moves the puck so well in transition and helps the breakouts. I mean, this guy was once a D-man playing 25 to 28 a night. On playoff contending teams. So for him to be in this position and just helping, and you have Evan Bouchard and him moving the puck, and they move it so clean. I mean, these Edmonton forwards are getting this puck with speed through the neutral zone more than they ever have in the past 5 years. And you're giving these skill guys all this time with the puck and hitting them clearly on the tape. Because when you look back, like that was always the frustration is the D couldn't get it to the forwards other than Bouch. And the forwards would be frustrated. There'd be icings. You just could see the frustration on Leon and Connor, I think, because they don't hide it well. But now it's like just clean on the tape every single time, just no matter where. And I mean, Wallman leading the NHL playoffs in plus minus. I didn't think it would work out this well. I can say that categorically. I didn't think it would work out this well. And them together specifically, I was like, I don't know how this pairing's gonna work, man. They've been a revelation. And I don't lose that term lightly. And if you're not a casual fan, you can see what they've done for this team on the back end.
Well, you look who they replace. So Klingberg and Wallman come in, and you replace Vincent Desharnais and Cody Ceci. Like you said, like these forwards weren't getting the puck like they were supposed to. And now, last night was the first time that six have all played together with Ekholm being back. What did you make of his return to the lineup? He looked pretty solid. His skating didn't look like too much of a problem.
Yeah, he looked good. Like, it was interesting because that decor was humming. I did notice a little bit. I didn't love certain. My nerves with that was that how was the pairing of Nurse and Kulak going to look? And it was good at times, was on for a couple. Kulak didn't have his best game of the playoffs last night. I didn't think it. I think he seemed rushed. He looked a little uncomfortable. And I think that was, having played with Bush for so long and then going with Nursey. Nothing against Nursey. It's just going from playing with Bush to it's a completely different defense partner. And I just didn't love how it looked. We'll see how it does against Florida. I think they're gonna have to lean on that one. But yeah, it's tough because I thought Stetcher played so well with Nursey, and you kind of you can't. I thought they were going to go 11-7, but again, Jeff Skinner comes in and scores a goal, good for him, and I thought played a really good game. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the decor moves forward as we kind of progress through this next round, because I don't want that pairing to become an issue. But I think if they figure out, it's a very solid six.
Yeah, I agree. I do, as much as I really, really, really like John Klingberg. Troy Stetcher is just like somehow the Nurse whisperer. Like Darnell Nurse can only play well if he's with Troy Stetcher. Can you give like some insight into that? Like, are there really just some guys that you just click a little bit differently with?
Yeah, I mean that goes to the credit of Troy Stetcher, who's very much, I always considered myself a complimentary defenseman where I can kind of mold to whatever deep partner I was with. I won't lead the D pairing, but I'll help kind of accentuate whatever skills and talents that guy has. And I feel like Stetcher has that quality. And it's a good quality to have as a defenseman. It does sometimes hurt you because you're always in the middle in purgatory and they'll always look to find somebody better than you. But it works when you're in. Like you're never really uncomfortable or nervous when Troy Stetcher's coming in the lineup because he's just going to give you what he gives you. And that predictability is great for Darnell Nurse, who's unpredictable at times. And I think Kulak, being the good skater that he is, sometimes it just clashes that pairing. They're very similar, Nursey and Kulak, in certain aspects of the way they play. And it just sometimes just clashes too much. So I'm interested to see how they manage that. I wouldn't mind seeing Ekholm go with Nursey. Honestly, the way Kulak and Bush played, I wouldn't mind them starting and putting Ekholm on the right side with Darnell Nurse and seeing how that pairing works out as well. And I think they might go to that at one point in the series because the one thing I look at if I'm watching that game is Paul Maurice. I'm just studying the D pairings and I'm going, who can I get after? And I mean, that's the pairing I would target, just because of lefty lefty and they haven't played enough together. So, but going back to Ekholm, I thought he played good. I thought, Ekholm's another guy too that, the puck sometimes he's a little bit simpler coming out of his own end. He's not the most high risk out of the defensive zone with the passes he makes. So I just wanted to see with this forecheck of Florida, that's going to be this hard rim all playoffs, all finals, if they can kind of manage it like they did later in that series last year in the finals.
Was your jaw on the floor the same way everyone else's was in the hockey world when you read those comments from Pete DeBoer about Jake Oettinger? Like, I couldn't believe a head coach after an eliminate.
Put those up for me again, because I read them a little bit today and I haven't been able to find them. Yeah, you said I didn't blame it on Jake. You can read it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll read it for the podcast listeners. I didn't blame it all on Jake, but the reality is if you go back to last year's playoffs, he's lost 6 of 7 games to Edmonton, and we give up 2 goals on 2 shots in an elimination game. That's a pretty big sample size. I thought pulling Jake Oettinger after what are basically 2 breakaway goals because Perry was all alone in front, I thought going away from your guy who was so good in game 4 even though you lost, I thought that was crazy, and I thought these comments, again, your season's done. What's the point in doing this?
Yeah, there's a few things that I'll get to. My dad was asking me today, he's like, if I saw and what he noticed, because, he loves watching the playoffs, so we were chopping it up. But yeah, I mean, listen, the 2 goals was horrible penalty killing, number one. Cody Ceci should not leave to go towards Connor McDavid if he doesn't think Lindell is exactly back supporting him again. So he leaves the front of the net when he should not. And then that breakaway is just Lindell should not be going outside if he's not sure if Cody Ceci's off the bench and in the middle in time. So and on the video of the Lindell, the second one, he looks back and sees that there's no CC, and instead of going, he gets caught in no man's land. And I think both of them got caught in no man's land. That was just terrible defending by both guys. And you leave Odger alone, and then you pull him. And what was weird is my dad was telling me, he was like, he like after that third goal and going into the second, I guess they had DeBoer on camera and he was like looking in Ottinger's direction and mumbling stuff to himself. And Ottinger's demeanor was like that of not like crazily upset, but like very, and I know he's a calm, cool, collected guy, but I think he might have been like looking for like Jake to be like, put me the fuck back in. Excuse my French, like put me in. Like pull a Patrick Watt and be like, put me in or I'm done. It was I also like you look at that series and I mean Dallas has given up the first goal, like I think it was like 16 of 18 games. They're just they just were coming out so flat every game and not even flat, but like they would just give up these huge scoring chances that would end up in the back of their net. And I know you're hoping for Ottinger to have a save early on, and maybe it just takes him a little bit longer to wade into games, but you're not there. If you look at this series, if you look at this playoffs by the Dallas Stars, like the biggest mistake they can make is convincing themselves that they were close.
Yeah.
The first round against Colorado should have taken that series. It could have went either way. It was a coin flip. Ottinger pulled him through that one. So did Mikko Rantanen late in that series. The Winnipeg series, Mikko Rantanen drags him through that series. So does Ottinger. No secondary scoring, no nothing. Then you get to the Western Conference Finals, and now you get exposed because you're playing a goalie in Jeff Skinner that's on fire, and you're getting this depth scoring that's putting pucks away on you on Ottinger and defending you, and kind of nullifying Mikko Rantanen. And he just exposed all their weaknesses within that series and how much and how far they actually are. So, to me, I'm just like, I think it wasn't Ottinger's fault. You're trying to spark the team as DeBoer, I think, is just looking for answers because he's on the bench being like, what the hell's going on? And I think after the third goal, you saw Mason Marchment standing up on the bench, like being like looking around, being like, do we have a heartbeat? Do we have a pulse right now? Like we need to figure something out. And that was just his way as a coach. Like you flip the goalies and sometimes it works. But I think he might have just kind of had enough of Ottinger against Edmonton. But yeah, it's a head scratcher for sure. I do believe you live and die with your best players. But I never get mad at a coach for going against that theory because if it works, it works. And if it loses, like he basically saved himself from having an easy scapegoat and putting it on himself.
Mhm.
Because like everybody would have kind of been like, Ottinger choked again, but now the narrative switches and it goes, Pete DeBoer, what are you doing? But if you look at that sample size, I mean, he's not wrong.
No.
But I think you still live and die with your best players, but you got to take that risk. I think if you're a coach, and I don't ever get mad at a coach for taking and doing something outside the box because so many times you see coaches lose because they stick with, well, we can't deviate from playing our best players, and we got to run. Like you look at Winnipeg and the Hellebuck situation. Hellebuck should have got pulled in most of those games, but they leave him in and they play him because he's the Vezina
Yeah.
candidate and he's the top guy, and you don't trust Comrie, but DeBoer kind of flips that on its head. So I don't get mad at him for it, but I'm also just scratching my head a bit because I think he should have maybe waited till at least the third goal.
Before we let you go, what's your early gut feel on this Cup final, the rematch? Matt Tkachuk said it to Connor McDavid in the handshake line last year. He said, I'll see you back here next year. Zach Hyman in the room, as everyone was crying, said that he knew they'd be back. They're back. Do you think the Oilers can get the job done, or is this Florida team too much of a wagon?
Well, Edmonton's 7-3 when Zach Hyman's injured. So where I thought it would be a big gaping hole, they're actually 7-3 this season and this one game in the playoffs without Zach Hyman. So they can win without him. I think Edmonton's ready. I think they're ready. I think this team is different. I think home ice advantage. I think they understand what Florida is. They won't be bullied. It's going to come down to Skinner versus Bob, but I think this team's ready, and I think Canada's ready to finally have a Cup champion. And I'm not saying that because you guys are paying me. I truly believe that this Edmonton Oilers team is finally ready. And I didn't pick them in round 1. I didn't pick them in round 2. I had them in round 3. I think I told you guys I wasn't going to make that mistake again. And I'm going to ride with them now all the way through.
I like that you added. We do pay you. You're contractually obligated to be our friend, but you're our friend nonetheless. We appreciate you giving us some time.
Friend. I would do it for free, but my wife manages my checkbook, so you got to pay. Got to pay to play, baby. But I got a Florida podcast in a minute where I'm saying Florida's going to wipe the floor with Edmonton. So
damn it!
I play both sides. Kiss my ass. I
Could have let that out.
This is media, baby. No, I'm just kidding. Edmonton's ready. I mean, listen, I want to see Edmonton win this so bad. I just think after what I heard in that building last year in Game 6, God damn it, do these Edmonton Oilers fans deserve this? There's a fan base. You got everybody in the hockey world but the state of Florida cheering for you, I think. Maybe not Toronto Maple Leafs fans because they stink, but you got everybody else rooting for. I just think Connor's going to do it. That guy's a absolute killer. So is Leon. Killers.
And here's the thing: Leon's healthy. He didn't score. He didn't get a point last year in the Cup Final. Like, there is no way in hell Leon's not getting a point in this Cup Final.
And what if you guys recall early in this playoff what did I say to you about Evander Kane? And I had some casual in your chat chirp me about it, being like, Evander Kane is not going to affect any change. And I said, if Evander Kane's healthy, look out. And what has Evander Kane been doing?
Scoring goals.
Big ones.
And scaring the opposition. So whoever that fan was, if he remembers this and listens to this, go suck it.
Hell yeah.
Suck it.
Get him. Well, you know what? You come by our office. We'll tell that fan to come by too when you're in Edmonton. We'll settle this like back in the old days, hey?
Put him up.
All right, JD, we'll see you in person next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
Jason Demers on the Star Mechanical Guest Line. He is also brought to you by Tourism Jasper. All our guests are on the Star Mechanical Guest Line. All our guests are brought to you by Tourism Jasper. Once again, plan your trip at jasper.travel/summer. But I just keep adding it. Again, go to Jasper this summer. 21st, 22nd, 20th. Maybe don't. Stay in Edmonton. Hang out here. I like the optimism.
How was Greta yesterday?
Oh, my God. I was drinking beer straight from a pitcher.
A picture of who?
No, pitcher.
Budweiser.
Lots of... Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there, and I think I know what your reaction is going to be. Peanut butter tequila.
I don't know. I've not really mixed those two together very often.
It's so good.
Is that what they were giving out?
Yeah, we shot to... That's what my table was doing. Oilers score. Peanut butter tequila.
Wow. Was that the flavor, or do you have like peanut butter and tequila?
No, it's
separately?
the flavor.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Caleb Presley. It's a Caleb Presley thing.
Oh, I thought you had like, when you have a Caesar and you have the salted rim? I thought you had like a peanut butter rim on your...
Oh, that would be maybe
tequila.
good.
That would be crazy. No, I just remember, what do they call it? Apple pie moonshine.
Ooh, those are good too. Anyways, Greta was an absolute vibe last night. The game, the crowd, everything was just absolutely rocking. Me and my buddy Connor got into the pitchers of Bud that are on special.
Lovely.
Got really nicely into those. Plate of wings, kept us nice and steady. Greta, make sure we have a good time. I was doing the trivia. So again, you come down to one of our watch parties. We're keeping it the same in the Cup Final. We got our pop-up shop. We got our trivia. We got T-shirt tosses. We got prizes. We got live shows happening from the bar. And again, when the Oilers win, the party at Greta, it is top-notch stuff, Liam. So thank you for asking me about my night last night.
You're welcome. I'm glad you had a nice time. If you're looking for obviously no Game 6 this weekend because the Oilers smoked the Dallas Stars because they're a superior franchise and the Dallas Stars are fraudulent. Sorry, Jeff. Strongly disagree. Well, you can still go out and hang out with Greta.
Yeah,
still there.
I wanna continue on with a few things. I got one big take. It might bleed into two big takes, but it's one big take, and it's brought to you by Budweiser. Budweiser's been brewed in Edmonton for 45 years, and by partnering with Mark Messier, a proud Edmontonian, on this limited edition can, the brand is set out to ignite the City of Champions spirit. During the brewing process, Budweiser even brought out the original of City of Champions sign and brought it into the brewery. I saw it with my own eyes. They gave me a tour. It was awesome. Mark Messier is all in on the City of Champions spirit. So is Budweiser. And we're close, man. We're close to being able to retake that City of Champions moniker.
Do they not put it back up?
They fucking should.
They shouldn't have taken it down.
Shouldn't have taken
first
it down,
of all. I think there's a very big misconception of what that stood for when people were getting upset about it. It's not about sports. It's about the people.
Someone said Dry had 3 assists. Tyler, you're supposed to be the expert.
Come on.
When did I?
You said points. You meant to say goals. In the final.
Oh, Draisaitl?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he didn't have a goal. Sorry, he didn't have a goal.
Neither did Evander Kane. Obviously, wasn't able to play the last. What did he play?
Last 2 games, I think. Yeah.
I think he played maybe a game and a half, whatever it was.
All right, my one big take for the Dallas Stars. They're kind of fucked.
Yeah, and they were coming into the series, but yes,
So-
right now they're even worse spot.
Aaron, I think we have their off-season preview board that the great Patrick Puff puts together for DFO
Patty
Live. So they got Oettinger signed through 2033. Again, hell of a thing for Pete DeBoer to say, knowing he signed for until 2033. They need to somehow sign at least 6 players, at least 5, I guess, at least 5 players for $4.9 million. No more Mikhail Granlund. He's a UFA. Dadonov, UFA. Duchesne, UFA. Jamie Benn, UFA. Even if 35-year-old Jamie Benn and 34-year-old Matt Duchesne say, we'll give you guys a deal. We'll sign for 2.5 each.
Yeah.
They still can't. They don't have enough players. They would only have 10 forwards in that scenario with no more cap space. Tyler Seguin, $9.8 million. Buying him out saves you $300,000.
And even him, he's still one of your better players.
And he's got a full no move, so you can't trade him.
Yeah.
They committed and have $7 million committed next season to Matt Dumba and Ilya Lyubushkin.
Oh. Who didn't play in this series. by the way.
Lyubushkin played one
He
game.
played one game. Matt Dumba forgot he was on the team.
He basically wasn't.
Yeah.
So, again, they need to sign 1 defenseman and 5 forwards for $4.9 million. Let's go through their cap hits. Like, who could they trade? You're not trading Heiskanen. You're not trading Esa Lindell. He's a bargain. Thomas Harley still only makes $4 million.
Yeah.
He needs to be extended this summer. You have no money. You have no picks. You've traded your young players. You've traded your prospects. You could maybe trade Mason Marchment. But I think they're going to, Jason Robertson is also extension eligible, and he's a UFA in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make a decision on that guy, because either you're giving him a raise and you're making him a $9 to $10 million player, or you're trading him this summer.
I agree. And I know he scored a goal yesterday. And even, he got 3 in the series, I think he ended up getting. The only one that was like a Jason Robertson goal was the power play goal. The other one was a tip that he didn't even know he got. And then the other one is the one that killed a couple of Gophers on the way to the net. Like, he did not play very well at all. In that game we went to in game 4, he had no compete at all.
Nope.
If I was a team, I think there's certain teams around the league that can bring in guys and they would have to learn how to buy into the culture. I think Edmonton's one of them. But, like, you're right. Like, Dallas is in a tough spot right now.
Like,
and if you're Mikko Rantanen, like, you got to be feeling pretty silly right now. Looking at, like, what this team is going to be the next few years, like, you have put yourself in a terrible situation.
Every single team has won and lost a Mikko Rantanen trade this year.
Yeah, it's wild stuff.
Bumping outside our studio.
I know. I'm very curious what's going on out there.
But yeah, they're pretty hooped. Even if you could get out of Lyubushkin and Dumba, like, why did they give Dumba term?
Yeah,
What
like
if
you're giving those guys like 1 year deals, whatever.
Sure, but
2 year
like
deals are that much money.
you have to attach a pick to get rid of them. They only have a 3rd rounder this year, and then some 5th, 6th, and 7ths, and only a 2nd rounder next year. And the year after that, they've already gotten rid of their 3rd.
Yeah, the problem they have is, I think the guys who deserve, they have a lot of guys who are under contract already who are decent. Like Wyatt Johnson, his deal is good. Obviously, Miro Heiskanen, his deal is good. It's just like you said, like the outside guys, like Mason Marchment. I know he almost scored 30 goals this season, but like you don't need to pay a guy like that $4.5 million. It's just a bit unnecessary. Like even the Sam Steele extension, like paying Sam Steele $2.1 million to what? Playing your 4th line and kill a few penalties? Like I like Sam Steele. He's a perfectly fine player.
But why did you give him a 3-year deal?
1.5. Pod Colson's better than Sam Steele.
Yes.
And we pay him $1 million.
I mean, yeah, like, again, go through the Oilers, call it value players. Pods, $1 million. Janmark, 1.4 for next year. Like, even Henrique, I'd rather have Henrique at 3 than Steele at 2.1.
Yeah.
Henrique was awesome last night.
Probably his best game.
Probably his best game.
Outside of maybe the game he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, but like even that, like complete game effort-wise, unbelievable.
Yeah, it was great. I have a big take. It won't take me long.
Yeah, go.
I think the LA Kings are the best team the Oilers have faced. And I think it was a combination of...
Combination.
And the reason I think this is they were the only team that got Edmonton out of their comfort zone for a full game. I think Vegas and Dallas both had their moments where they pushed Edmonton. And obviously, the deeper the playoffs have gone on, we all know Edmonton has adjusted well. They've learned a lot of lessons, even in this run. But LA was one clearance away from basically being up 3-1 in this series, in that series. And now, all of a sudden, they're gone. And I think when you truly look back at it, they might have been the best team. I think depth-wise, they got contributions from many guys. Like, Kemper was okay to start the series, obviously fell off. But, yeah, I think it would be LA, Dallas, Vegas would kind of be the order I would have them in. And the reason I would have Vegas a little bit lower is because I think they were banged up. They were too banged up. A couple of guys were injured, and that's why I would have them the way they are.
Mm-hmm. Reese, you want to check on that? Wonder what's going on. Cool. All good.
What is happening?
I don't know. It's a weird day today, Liam. It's a weird
security?
Day.
Who was it?
Well, Reese is supposed to be security.
No one?
Well, there was. She was around the corner a little bit. You just probably couldn't see her.
Did you see her?
Yeah, she was just resetting the keypad.
Oh, okay.
Person runs this whole thing. All right. Anyways, let's get to a short for giant question, Liam.
What was the question today?
I'm gonna throw it to you
We
blind.
didn't put it down. Whoa.
Yeah, short for the Giant Nation valet service. You don't have time during the playoffs to be driving to the dealership and then figuring out a ride and then driving back to pick up your vehicle. Just get Nation valet service. They'll pick up your car or truck, drive it to the dealership, do the routine maintenance, then drive it right back to you. It's like it never left, and the work is done. Shout out to our friends at Short for the Giant. I'm gonna ask you to give me a Cup Final prediction in 5 words. I want the chat to do it too. You got 5 words.
Edmonton Oilers in 6 games. Is that a good prediction?
You kept it. Yeah, you kept it pretty simple. I was thinking you'd give me like something else, I
know. I'm trying to think because I'm trying to figure out whether the Oilers have the advantage here.
Connor McDavid won't be denied.
That's a good one. That's a way better one than I did. Like, why do you think Edmonton thrives more in this series?
Well, I think there is like a little bit of a.
I think, again, Edmonton's depth is being undervalued a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so Florida.
Still, obviously, they're a great team.
Who did they lose anyone out of this forward group? Or did they just add Marchand?
Their fourth line basically got changed.
Yeah, like Lomberg and shit. Okay.
Pozo. Like, Evan Rodriguez has 1 goal in the playoffs. He just scored it the other day. He has 10 assists. Carter Verhage,
so their forward group, though, you could say it's better. You add Marchand. They're better.
Yeah.
Okay. Their blue line, no Ekman Larson, no Brandon Montour.
Oh, yeah, Montour. I forgot about him.
Instead, they have Seth Jones and Nate Schmidt.
I think the combination of Montour and Ekman Larson is better than Jones and Nate Schmidt.
So their blue line's worse.
Slightly,
and then goaltending, Bob. Still Bob. Still doing Bob things.
He's just bobbing
Oilers
around.
forward group. No Hyman sucks.
Big time.
No McLeod, no Fogle, no Holloway. You've added Frederick, Skinner, Arvidsson, Podkolzin, Kapanen.
Tarasenko, 1 player they lost.
Okay, Tarasenko, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Tarasenko for Marchand. There's an upgrade there.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think Florida is, their forward group's better. Blue line's worse. Goaltending's the same. The Oilers, their forward group,
Better.
It's playing much better. Like, you can do the on paper thing and player by player, whatever. They're playing better. Their blue line's way better.
Much improved. Yeah. I liked what JD said, and it is something like the way the Oilers are able to move the puck now is why guys like Klingberg are in the lineup.
Yeah.
You know, goaltending, playing better, I would say right now coming into the series than they were last season. Bear in mind, Stuart Skinner was unbelievable in Game 6 against Dallas last year too, but overall in the series, Skinner is better this time around than last year. I don't know. I really do think home ice is going to be the difference. If you're at that rink, blow your head off. Like, get everything going.
Cheer your head off.
Cheer your head off.
There you go.
Blow their heads off with your yelling.
Yeah, with your yelling. All right. Let's get to some of these 5-word answers here. I want to get to a few of them.
Oh, Cheeks game.
Cheeks game-winning OT goal. I like it. Florida is way too cocky from MB. Ryan S. says Edmonton will be the champions. Nice. Ham Sandwich said, I will drink many beers.
Nice.
Southpaw, because it's a cup year. Shay, Canada's team brings Stanley home. I like that. I like that. Jay, this is a good one. Win-win, loss, win-win.
There you go.
That's a good one, Jay. That's a good creative comment. Mikola took a huge step up. That wasn't part of the 5 words. Turtle Chuck cries, Oilers will rise. I like that from Sergeant Battle. It rhymes a little. Han said, if the Oilers win the cup and Perry retires, we should go get Taves. Captain Clutch. Bowman probably has a good relationship with him. Yeah, we're probably getting ahead of ourselves there. Edmonton hosts the greatest parade. Yes. Pink Pony Stanley Cup champions from Tanner. That's good. Marchand is going to be McDavid nightmare from Marvin. I don't think so. The Oilers don't get rattled. Like Mason Marchment could have been doing. Jamie Benn. Like they didn't do that shit. They don't get in Edmonton's head.
Do you think Jamie Benn goes back to Dallas?
I think he goes back on a cheap deal, yeah.
He might retire. I wonder if he would retire.
I think he's still got the juice.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably.
Florida. It's going to be an awesome series. Again, my home ice advantage matters most.
All right.
There you go.
That's a good one, Liam. Let's get to the menu for today. It is brought to you by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 Portable Glass Air Fryer.
Meet the Ninja Crispy Portable Cooking System. The power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand.
The Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 Portable Glass Air Fryer is an all-in-one system that includes 4-quart and 6-cup Tupperware glass containers and 2 storage lids. It's thermal shock resistant and can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispy Power Pod, you get the power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hands. The 4-quart container can even fit 4 pounds of chicken or veggies. Cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes. Max Crisp, bake, air fry, re-crisp. Do it all with the Ninja Crispy. Visit their website, and starting next week, we're giving one of these bad boys away. Ninja Crispy. No Oilers hockey, no Stanley Cup playoff action. There's one NBA game this weekend, and the Blue Jays are playing the Oakland A's, who they were up 11-0 on in the 3rd inning yesterday. There's your menu for the weekend. Watch the Jays beat the hell out of the A's.
Memorial Cup is like the only other thing.
Semis tonight, final Sunday.
Yeah, Moncton, London tonight, and then whoever wins plays Medicine Hat.
In the final.
Yeah.
All right. Giddy up. Yeah, the Jays are 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock tonight, 1 o'clock tomorrow, 11 o'clock, 11:30 on Sunday. So some baseball to watch if you're into baseball, which I am. What are you going to do this weekend? I'm going to Marwayne, Alberta tomorrow, I think.
Marwayne?
Giddy up. Marwayne, where you at, though?
Well, I'm not doing anything
by
as
Lloydminster
exciting as that. Marwayne, wow. Not a lot. I'm trying to think. I do have plans. I feel like I have stuff on the go here. Maybe I was. Oh, that was what it was. I was planning on Aaron as a wedding this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, you were gonna have to
I was
pre-post.
going to do that, so that was kind of what I was building my schedule around. Yeah. Now I don't. We have to do what's trending really quickly.
Okay, hurry, because I drank a whole Gatorade.
Oh my goodness! The breaking news: 2 huge WHL stars just committed in the NCAA to North Dakota. Did you see this?
Keaton Verhoff
and Cole Reshney, both from the Victoria Royals, are going to the University of North Dakota.
Wow, that's big.
Which is insane. Also, the other thing which I thought was just hilarious last night was seeing Ray Ferraro break down the game next to Jake Oettinger, who was pulled. That has to be the most awkward thing ever. I would imagine Ray maybe said something to him and like maybe just was like, hey, I'm sorry, I have to do that right next year, but here's what it is.
Yep, that would be very, very awkward, but man, 3-0 on 6 shots. That's hilarious.
Tough.
I would have liked to been shown this image before the game.
Yeah, and I would have thought, what happened?
Yeah. And my buddy turned to me, my buddy Skirk goes, he goes, when Skinner scores, he goes, imagine an hour ago someone tells you Jeff Skinner just scored on Casey DeSmith.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's crazy.
Nothing. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Wild.
Shout out to our friends at Ninja Crispy. Shout out to Bet365 one more time as well. Who do you think is the odds-on favorite to be handed the Stanley Cup first? I did this with Frank today.
I would guess Leon.
It's Nuge.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Loved them FaceTiming Zach Hyman in the locker room.
That was cool.
I would assume. Oh, yeah. This is great.
Can't wait to see you, pal. Yeah.
Love you, Hutch. Love you, buddy.
There you go. Put a shirt on, Zach. Come on, camera.
I would imagine Hyman, now because he'll be like a week removed from surgery, he probably travels down to Florida with them.
Yeah, I would think so. It's
Oh, we didn't talk about the trophy touch.
I think that is so overblown.
So overblown. The crowd at Rogers Place for the watch party was booing it.
So here's the thing for you all. Every time the Oilers won the Stanley Cup, they touched the trophy. There's only been one time they touched the trophy and didn't win the cup. And that was 83. They then went on the next year, touched it however many more times in a row. 2 times they haven't touched it. 06 last year.
Yeah.
And they lost. It's also...
You could also tell Connor McDavid, you could tell he was so uncomfortable having to do that.
It's just a trophy.
It's just a trophy. You can celebrate things like this. They wear the hats.
Yeah, like, come on. It's cool. Like, it's like in baseball. People always make fun of teams winning rounds.
Celebrate.
Live in the moment.
Yep.
Celebrate it.
Celebrate.
This is good.
Totally. Yeah, the girl. Why did he do that in the video? Have you seen that video?
I saw the first couple of seconds. I was like, this is dumb. Turned it off.
Why did he do that? What? Come on. I wish there was odds on would they have touched it last night. That would have been cool.
Oh, yeah.
I would have bet yes.
I would have bet yes, too.
Totally. Sidney Crosby lost his first cup final to Detroit.
Yeah.
Next year, touched it. Didn't touch it, then touched it. Played the same team a second time. The prophecy continues. Wayne Gretzky lost to a team, didn't touch it. Next year, touched it. Played the same team again, beat them.
There you go. We will be victorious.
Next week, 90-minute shows every day.
5 words. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll get 2 guests.
Okay, cool.
Because, I mean, we can empty the tank.
We can. Everyone will be here. So.
And everyone will be in town, yeah, which is great. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Goddamn Edmonton Oilers, man.
Weekend off. 2 weeks of chaos. I can't wait.
We're going to Florida.
We are going to Florida, baby. We are literally going to Florida.
We are literally have flights booked.
Yeah.
Very drunk, sitting in the passenger seat of the Nation truck as Amber drove me home. And I'm just like, I gotta focus, Amber. I gotta book the right flights.
And you pushed it. They were getting a bit worried in there. That you
I
had it
know.
booked.
Well, I kind of, you know what? Not even worth getting
All
into
good.
it. All good. We're going to Florida. The Oilers are back in
Yeah.
the Stanley Cup Final. Media day. Everything. Oh, my God. Patch is back on the jersey. Oh.
Can't wait.
Oh. Drip by drip, Liam.
Drip by drip.
All right, we got to go to Oilers Nation Radio. I got to hop on with Low Tide. Thank you to everybody for tuning in this week. Next week, we're going to bring it. We're going to have some good shows. Tell a friend. Be like, you should be watching Oilers Nation every day. It's a fun product. That would mean a lot to us. Mm-hmm. On that note, we bid you adieu. Hope you have a great weekend. And as always, oil up.